So my first question, Tip Cullen, is favourite film. If you could only watch one film for the rest of your life, what would it be? And you can't say Sunray.
Cross of Iron.
Never heard of it.
See? Should I give you a brief summary of it?
Yeah, here you go.
Cross of Iron, James Coburn, 70s, probably one of the first truly good war films because it showed you the section, the mentality. And Corporal Steiner, the character James Coburn played, only ever wanted to be Corporal Steiner. You remember, even in your time in the Corps, you only wanted to be a corporal. When you became a corporal, that for me, that's what I wanted to be. And then the Corps made you and got promoted. But no, you always just want, everyone you want to be, I want to be Corporal Steiner. Because it was that. And the section and the characters in it, it still rings true. It's a bit old now. I mean, obviously it's in the 70s, but if you get a chance, watch that. Honestly, Ollie, you would love it.
There you go. Favourite food? If you could only eat one food for the rest of your life?
I'm Irish. Potatoes.
Straight in there. No explanation needed. If you had a superpower, what would it be? Anything.
Superpower. Oh. Very tempted with a few things, but the main thing I would say is the ability to see things far, far away, very close, without using any sort of equipment.
How far are we talking?
The other side of the world, with a look.
Okay, happy with that. Historical figure? I'm fascinated with Winston Churchill at the moment, so you can't say that. Who would you want? You've got to have dinner with this person.
No, but this is going to be a massive. This is going to go down as you would say, like a bag of lead boobs. For me, a hero, respect, or admiration. It's Michael Collins. And a lot of people go, I'm going, nah. It's just something about the way he created the guerrilla warfare. Basically, he was to me, he was the not the first one, but he's the one that I think mastered it. I'm not a political person whatsoever. So, but as an Irishman, you think about it, Michael Collins is the one I'd like to have dinner with, because I think if we had a group and there was three of us and there was three Irishmen doing it, it would be me, Michael Collins, and Paddy Blair and me, and I think that would be incredible, because they, although you may say they're two sides of the coin, I don't, in a lot of respects, I don't think they are. I mean, they're good, hard leaders that were able to command people on, lethal operations.
Cool. Last one is proudest moment. A man that you've obviously done a lot of things, and then
you know what it is.
Is it quite simple?
Yeah. As soon as when I walked off, when I did my King's Court pass out, it was absolutely honking it down. But when I walked off there, and they say Royal Marines 2 duties quick march, that was, we've all had high points and low points in our life, but that it just was in my head, and that for me is, remember, next year will be 40 years ago. Well, no, sorry, since I started training, so it's 38 years ago.
Which is how old when you joined?
I was 17, just going on 18.
And that brings us in nicely to Beyond the Battlefield, this podcast. Thanks for having me. Thanks for coming on. I thought that was a start. No, that was it. But it does lead us in nicely. I don't really know much about you. When we were stood outside, I was like, stop spinning me dits. Wait till you get
Save them.
Yeah. But so joined at 17, and that's your proudest moment. So for me, I joined slightly later. I was 24. So I'm not saying it wasn't up there with one of my proudest moments, but I think maybe at 17, that's so young to go through, isn't it?
It is. I have known people that have been very successful, started at 60. But for me, it was all I ever wanted to do. And the proudest moment is when you march off that parade square as a Royal Marine. Joining, it's proud because we've all taken that step and decided that we were going to do it. And that, I think, for any young person to do that, you've got to take your hat off and respect them for that.
Yeah, like I said, I was 24, so I was looking at 16-year-olds, 17-year-olds, and going, how are you doing this?
Yeah, I know.
I mean, I walked off going, thank fuck for that. That's been a stoic. That's crack.
Yeah, but I'm like, to me, 24 is still youth, but it's not, is it? You've had a life up that your formative years, to a certain extent, have been happened. So then if you do that, and then you compound it and add on that further, should we say, formative stuff, because it does. Even a 24-year-old, it changes you as a person, doesn't it?
100%. So I want to talk about your career, but to grab people's attention, because one of the reasons I wanted to talk to you, not only because you're an ex-bootneck and an ML, everyone's scared of MLs, aren't they? Especially when you're in training,
Good looking big unit in his club's regular.
yeah. But when you're a PTI as a recruit, you're scared of PTIs.
Yeah.
When you're a trained rank, you're scared of MLs. No matter what rank you are. But I want to talk about your career, but also let's just chuck it out there. So Sunray, Fallen Soldier, the film that you've just starred in, which I watched, did my homework last night. And I'm not just saying this, it was brilliant. And do you know what? And we can't give away any spoiler alerts. The end bit, I got goosebumps.
Yeah, but again, I won't. I'll not do a spoiler at all. But I only seen the finished film when we done the premiere at Leicester Square, and it was only a month ago. And the guys, and I don't know whether they kept it from me, but they were obviously completely refining it and getting it as perfect as they could. And with the distributors, then we released it. So on the big screen in Leicester Square, I've seen it. And as an actor, I think any human being, when you see yourself on film or you hear your voice being recorded, we all cringe. It's like it's just one of those things.
It's PTI, I love my own voice.
No, I know, but it does take you a wee while. You condition yourself.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, well, I know a few PTIs that are, and I love that as well. But watching that big screen and seeing the whole film and the energy in the film, the storyline and the depth is incredible. And for some of the drier, shall we say, reviews now are from people that don't understand the depth, but the depth of the film is incredible. And I think as an actor probably for the rest of my career, I don't think I'll be as proud of something that we've created, because it was just a bunch of, like-minded former Royal Marines that went, should we do something about our people?
Right, so I've got so many questions here. So the lads that star in it with you, all pro actors, but are they any of them military, ex-military?
All the team players, my team, are all former Royal Marines.
I said this to my son because I didn't look at any homework. I just went straight into it. And I was watching it. I'm going, I swear these lads were ex-bootnecks.
Yeah.
Mrs. goes, shh, watch it. And no, I don't go there. So that's interesting. Right? Okay, so now I'm going to go away and do more homework. So that's what I loved watching was the lingo that was coming out, which was subtle. Yeah. It wasn't overpowering. Yeah. So that the non-bootneck could obviously watch it. But every time there's a little bit of like, cheers, dits.
Yeah,
things like that. I was just like, do you know, and going back to proud moments, you don't know unless you've got a green lid or whatever regiment you've joined. But it was that's what made it so like relative, just hearing that. What was the one? I think you're on the floor like this, and is he loafing? Is he still?
Yeah.
Just subtle little things like that. I was like, that's buzzing, man.
But for us, it was important. I mean, we were doing it about our people. It was created about our people. So the main players behind the camera, they're all former Royal Marines as well. So the main people in front are former Royal Marines. And remember, but all the, should we say, supporting actors and extras and bits and pieces that come in, a lot of them were volunteers and a lot of them were former service people and that. But behind the camera, the main players were Royal Marines, but we had Army people, we had Navy, we had Air Force, all creative people, involved in it. And we were I think we proactively we know it's a bootneck film. And again, we did because but it's for everybody. It's for all veterans. It's for blue lights. It's for human beings that have been through really hard times and have lost people, and wondering where their position in life and what it's about. So it's for everybody. But we wanted to make sure that people knew in a subtle way where it came from, because it comes from real life. Even though it's a complete made up, action thriller, it comes from real experience, humor, and human beings. Because the diverse nature of the characters, even within the team, they give all, as we say, inside people's consciousness. It gives you the full spectrum from ability to do violence, to do love, to do respect, to empathize. All those come out in each of the characters.
And that's it with your fire team or the lads you had with you. You got those classic characters that you had in the Corps.
Yeah.
The dry humour, the dark humour,
the guy you'd never trust for your grandmother.
The threaders one, the one who's just always got, and it just brought out all these different. So watching it back, I was just like, oh, it's just mad. And obviously the twist at the end. Take us back then. How did we get from leaving the Corps, becoming an actor, going into that?
Well, for me, I joined up. That was it. growing up in Belfast, I discreetly, all I wanted to be was a Royal Marines commando. And once I managed that and achieved that, that was it. I mean, you've got to have goals and move on that there. When I passed out training, went to a commando unit and thought, right, this is it. I'm going to be a Royal Marines commando in the front line, in my rifle company for the rest of my life. But we move on. And then you get pretty on the corporal and that. And I wanted to be a mountain leader. So I spent all my time as a Marine, either in a rifle company or in a recce troop, focusing on wanting to become a mountain leader, Royal Marines mountain leader. Because I'd seen behind the lines, which again, otherwise it's really old. And it came out it was filmed in 83 just after Falklands. I think it was out in 84. But it's such a quality documentary. If you get a chance on YouTube to watch it, I think it still holds its worth. And that was one of the reasons those characters and those Marines or Royal Marines were involved in that. I thought that is, to me, that was, I know every Royal Marine's got their own, but that to me was the pinnacle of being a Royal Marines commando, to be able to operate with big kit at night on skis, over big distances. I couldn't think of any, if you could master that, I couldn't think of anything more than master. I know that's arguably but that's my perception. People go, no, but we got this. I understand that, but for me, that was the challenge.
You probably answered my next question in a way, but I was going to say, what brought you on to be an ML? So people are watching this that are not military. So ML, mountain leader, it's like another step forward in terms of, you're a bootneck, you're a Royal Marine, but it's ninja, right? To go and do an ML's course.
Yeah, but it's through commando training at Limston, I got a buzz doing that. It was incredible. The challenge is I think it's so wonderful. So, I mean, it's what I wanted. It's what I wanted to get my teeth into. When it came to the MLs, again, it's a different level. But I've got such full memories. And it's just through your training on your MLs course to the pass hour when you finish it, the accelerator you're on of your performance levels, your physical ability, your tactical, know-how, everything. It's just you're on the ascent continually until you finish. And I love that. I mean, I think on my ML course, some of the tests that we did do were probably the hardest tests I've ever done in the Corps, and the weather conditions and the time and the tactical scenario in wintertime and things like that. Some of the things I've done there, I couldn't believe a human being was possible to have that endurance level, but you master it and you own it. So I loved that. To me, was people got different courses they enjoy doing through the time in the Corps. My mountain leader 2s, my ML2s, was without doubt my most favourite, in a bizarre way.
Yeah, love the punishment, love the adversity and the challenge, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's the challenge, and people tick in different ways, don't they? I mean, I look back at that. Obviously, I don't know the ins and outs of an ML course other than it's ninja, and I couldn't think of anything worse.
Yeah, but again, and I don't. And
I left the Corps and joined the Navy because I was fed up with getting caught.
That's it.
Seen the good aim. I wanted to run around in the gym in a pair of shorts. So I felt like I'd done my hardship in terms of becoming a bootneck, and then that's why I went, I don't want to do that anymore. I want to go and pursue. And I was into fizz and strength.
Ollie, honestly, that is why I love the Corps. You do remember the proudest moment for me was walking off that parade square, that green lid. But then it's your adventure.
Yeah.
And if it's not an easy adventure, because as well, you obviously went to the Navy to be a PTI, and is that because you couldn't do it in the Corps?
I hadn't done my juniors, and I was a signaller. Since they give me a juniors, but then with a 2-year return of service, and I went there.
So that is exactly it. So everything, that's why in the armed forces, everything's sent to challenge you.
Yeah.
I was lucky because I got to do what I wanted to do, and that was be a Royal Marines mountain leader. But I've so many people. It's weird because it flips to the theatrical world. But in the services, look, you had to jump through several hoops to do what you wanted to do and be what you wanted to be. But you had focus and you were going to achieve it. And in the military world, I find any genuine service person that wants to do something, genuinely, they will achieve it. The services will throw in all sorts of cyber, like little stomach punches and everything else, metaphorically, of course, to you achieving it. but you will achieve it. In the theatrical world, I do everything. All that ethos goes into, right, I'm going to achieve this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. You do your audition and you walk away from that. Now, initially, I used to walk away going, right, I must have that in the bag. That was incredible. I was wonderful. And then you realize, your head's all upside down, or, maybe it's not. We didn't want that age group. There was just something about your nasal hair, irrelevant to what it was. It doesn't happen. But what I try and do is just maintain that ethos and focus, get to the audition. Obviously, for the most part, because you do so many auditions, and you're not that successful. So if it is successful, I just go away and I give it. It's their loss, but I've built up this rhino hide now that you understand that it's not going to be, and it's not easy, as the armed forces say. It's not going to be as easy as the armed forces. That's wrong. But those challenges are different now. So where in the military, if you focus on something, I believe, if you're genuine, you will achieve.
Mm-hmm. And those setbacks that we all get in life now, coming from an armed forces background, particularly Royal Marines, obviously we're very biased towards that, but it makes us who we are. And I, back to what you were saying, I would say to anyone now, go and join the military. I'll never say you've got to join the Royal Marines.
Yeah.
I say go and join the military, go and look what's out there, because what it can give people. When we were serving, or certainly when I was serving, I never realised what it was giving me. It created this for me, for one.
Yeah.
And it basically created my life. But I didn't know at the time. You're just in that bubble. It's not till you step out, and it's like the classic transferable skills, but it's so true. And I'd say to anyone that's leaving or wanting to join and have a career, the world, you can do anything. If you can do bootneck training, ML training, do that, you could, with the right mindset, you could do anything.
But I think it's also the simple conditioning you get from day one, week one, and then you move on with it. It's magical. And like I say, mapping that across, if you map across into whatever endeavor you're on, for me, I was an actor. Right time, right place. What do you want me to do? Who you want me to be? What ring do you want me to wear? And it is bang on. If you just hold those fundamentals, you will win. You know what I mean? Not you'll win like, you win little mini European Cups every time, but you'll win, you'll achieve. And once you're a creative and you're just achieving things and making things, that's what feeds me. It is not, and it never will be fame, fortune, money. I've never done a single thing in my life for money. You've got to survive to do what you love. And if you're doing what you love and that helps you to survive, and it's even more magical. But the fact is, it's not for money. It's for making things.
Yeah.
It's for having fun. It's for meeting people. It's just lovely. It's just wonderful.
It's also for having an impact. You must this conversation. What you're saying, that is, I'm involved.
Yeah.
Because I like listening to you talk. So people watching this back, this is what we do on this podcast and Beyond the Battlefield. It's about suffering from adversity and trauma and setbacks in our life in whatever subjective manner that is to you. It could be anything, but how you rise back from that and inspiring people to go and do what you love doing. Yeah. Go. I'm still trying to work out transition from. Oh yeah, Nails.
Say it,
Nails Mountain leader.
I told you. I would go off on a rat run. Right, I will focus on that. I will do that now.
But I'm trying to work out how you've gone from being in a really arduous position in the Royal Marines, mountain leader, to suddenly on the screen.
Right, what happened was, I'd done my career, got on that roller coaster, became a mountain leader, and done that roller coaster. Like we were speaking, even that photograph there, operation cycle, both before 9/11 and after 9/11 was pretty intense as a mountain leader, even though the Corps was involved. There was gaps. Obviously, we had the Northern Ireland days, and then there was gaps, and then it just started going a bit mad, really. And so I done that roller coaster, and I was either in a commando unit or in the brigade reconnaissance force right up until I got promoted. So from a corporal through to a sergeant major. So that was my whole time was spent in the commando units, and then a sergeant major. They finally sort of like made me do something else, but it got to. I went through sergeant major level, went to one officer first class, was the ML spec advisor. So I was the sort of, which is quite nice. I was the sort of like the head non-commissioned mountain leader in the Royal Marines, and sort of like assisted with our SOPs, what we've done, where we fit in as mountain leaders in reconnaissance and in the cold weather and mountainous operational environment. So I've done that, and then I guess I did love the Corps, and I had no place else to go. I became an officer, and I thought, that was never an intention. But when you get to that level of training, there's so many people do it now as well. you've got so much life experience, operational experience, core experience. You've got your networks over those a long period of time stretch all around the Corps and the Navy and the other armed forces. And I thought I'll become an officer. So I became an officer, and yeah, I loved it. It was cracking. I mean, you were still supporting our people and what they'd done, but you had that executive role of, you were either, you made things happen because you had that depth and that network to make things, go ahead and happen. And my last sort of operational tour was as a captain with the Brigade Recce Force as the ops officer stroke liaison officer and plans for the Brigade Recce Force on Herrick 14. Got back from there, and I'd done another couple of tours, and then I was in my office, and there was a bit of a moment where I just went, I was sitting there in front of my computer screen. It was a nice sunny day. I remember it was a 4-2 commando. I was the imprest holder as well. We'd just come back from California, and I was sitting in front of the thing, and I had my reading glasses on, and I just went, this isn't what I joined for. It was just one of those moments. I'd done coming up to 30 years in the Royal Marines, and I was going, this isn't what I joined for. I can do it. I love it. I'm still helping the people I love and, make the magic that our Corps needs. But it's not what I joined up for. And I said, well, I need to do something else. Because I even thought to myself, I was sitting there like in glasses on, like I said, I was going, so what if I'm in contact again and I've got to call a fire mission and I'm getting the map out. I can't really see it, so I have to get my reading glasses on. I'm like this. I'm going, maybe I won't be able to do it anymore. You know what I mean? So I realized then that because I wasn't doing what I joined up for, and I had all that, I had that roller coaster. When it came to, I can't do it anymore, I thought, I'm wasting time then, because life's so it's finite. It's what we want. It's what we do with it. And I've done what I think I was supposed to do in the Corps up to that level. So I needed to do something different. I'm literally, this was all in about an afternoon. I was sitting in front of the computer and I went, what is it I love, or I've loved about the Corps and what we are and who we are? And it's the dits. It's the dits and the people, the stories and the people. So it's like, we are the dit spinners, the storytellers of, I'd say, some of the good bootneck, or even any service, but bootnecks in a way. Storytellers or dit spinners are incredible. And I said, I like that. I like telling stories. That captures all the highs and the lows of what I've been through. So I went to Marjon University in Plymouth. I wasn't a graduate, so I know I would get financial support from the services through LCAS to go through university. And I looked at creative writing, said, I'm going to be a writer. Again, I felt like a young Marine again, even though I'd done like 30 odd years. I'm going, yes, I'm going to write some incredibly, just best-selling novels. I'm going to just tell stories. But I looked at creative writing, and in that creative department, there was an acting degree with the Actors Wheel. And when you map across our skills in the military and the way we tell stories, it's that performance, it's in your body, it's in your soul. That's the way you do it. So I said, that's what I need to do. So it wasn't, because a lot of people say, oh, you want to be an actor all your life? Going, no. But also one of those, like, I didn't want to be an actor all my life, but I realized there were times in my career where I had to be an actor. And then I also, that mapping crosswords, there's times where, you're about to go out the gate or do something in Ghana's or, in all the different states of operations, and you're in a leadership role, you turn around and look at your people, and they're looking at you, and they're a lot younger than you, they're a lot less experienced than you, and they're looking at you, and you look at them and you go, we're all right, mate, I'll look after you. You know what I mean? That's it. And then you turn away and you're going, I'm probably going to be dead in about 30 minutes. But you cannot, you never show that. So that act, that little realistic act, and that look, and that inspiration that you're given, in a way, is an act, because you feel as vulnerable as these people do as well as you do it. And I think, so when you see that, or when I was doing Shuras and you were speaking to a village elder who speaks a completely different language than you've got an interpreter or a terp, but you're looking him in the eye and you're saying, well, I need you to do this. This, and you have to be, in some ways, mega robust and make it massively friendly in that. but you're not this person's friend. And you've no hate or malice towards him, but he needs to understand something. So you, through an interpreter, but it's the eyes, and you're going, like, you need to listen. So that's an act. But that's for real life. And that really makes a measure of life or death in a lot of ways. So if you map across those skills, then we've always acted. We're always acting. The best one, Sergeant Major, I've got to do a spin at Sergeant Major there. When I was Sergeant Major, and then K Company Sergeant Major, obviously lads are always in the poop or whatever, like things. So I remember one of the little characters, like, yeah, a chip off the old block, maybe, I don't know. But he'd been in trouble ashore and out there. And I had to bring him in and give him, obviously turn him a new backside. So he comes in and then just the guy going, right, you stand by. And it, right, and then the end of the right, F off now, and he goes out. And you can hear a little vibe. And then as soon as he goes out, that going, yeah, I thought it was quite good. That, you know what I mean? There's no malice or anything, but you hear the buzzer going, you don't believe this. Don't go into this Sergeant Major. He's mental at the minute. He's blah, blah, blah. He's just ripped, you know what I mean? And that, you think that's a performance, because you have no malice towards this young lad, but and there isn't. But in a way, he might even think I'm performing anyway as well, but it doesn't matter. He does go, you need to sort your life out. You've got to sort it out. So if nobody tells you not to, you won't, will you? You'll still be a little wisecracking wanker at the end of the day, won't you? So for him, but any of them, it was just that makes you do it. And that, I love that. I love meeting these characters, these rough diamonds, because in a way, that's all of us. Nobody's perfect. We just need that little tentative sort of kick up the arse every once in a while to go somewhere.
Same as being a PTI, right? I've never really thought about it like this. And so you're acting, right?
Yeah.
So you've got
the classic, Nick. That is got to be. You know that.
Yeah, so funnily enough, I've had two, but I've got one person still on my program now who I took through training in Dartmouth. I did 3 years at Dartmouth. The best draft I ever had.
Yeah.
Fantastic location, good staff. Taking IMF, had just been introduced into the Navy, and there was me and a couple of other lads who had come across from the course, so we're all over IMF. Anyway, this lad who's on my program now, he's been with me a year. Fantastic. So I broke him, and now I'm rebuilding him again. Yeah. But when we started working together, he knew me as the PTI back then, and it's just an act. It's hilarious. You jump up on the diet, and you just off the
it.
And then when everyone stood to attention and you're around the back, you're pissing around with the other staff, and then you come back round, game face back on.
Yeah.
And it's just a big act.
That's it. But it's quality.
Yeah.
It's quality. I mean, because every Royal Marine or every service person, they'll remember those PTIs. And that you must have had that look. I mean, I had John Morgan in the days and all that. They're like, John Morgan, the organ. But the banter was brilliant. But they were so good at what they'd done. And they were physical specimens. So you got it. So they got the credibility. That's something you've got to be credible as an actor. Or if not, you've got to create that credibility. And that's PTI. You knew as soon as you said that, I was good. And we all know them. We all know and love those PTIs. And it is their performance. Like,
it is a performance. Yeah, look at me. That's what I'm saying. Look at me. You stand up on a great big box and just shout at people. But the thing is, with lads in the Corps, and I'm sure with other services, it's the cheerfulness in the face of adversity. Yeah. That's an act, right?
Yeah,
because it's shit. But you're
it's shit. But it's role playing.
That's it.
But it's shit. But it's like, especially in Sunray, when the character Harper, which is Stevie Blades, former bootneck, when he goes through and he gives his monologue about the operation in Afghanistan, and at the end of it, it's just that you can hear a suck of a straw, and then there you go, and just that one liner going, that is it. And I think it's that dark humor that the chief is the face of adversity, because we're all there. We are all there.
And at that point, I was turning to my missus and going, "This is what it's like in the Corps.
Yeah,
these are the conversations lads are having." There's the other one in the it's in that killing house at the end, and you're nearly out of ammo, and somebody just says something like, "Oh, brilliant!" Like just like it's not like a flap.
No,
it's just like, "Oh, winner."
Yeah,
yeah.
Because you've all been caught and you've been in that world. And every one of us, they'll be involved in those type of things. There's moments like that. There's moments. It's never really like a Hollywood war movie. It's like there's giggles, there's farts, there's whoa, oh cheer. There's this, and there's also trying to find the firing point. Trying to find a firing point is like, it's one of the most magical things in the world, isn't it?
Yeah.
And we've got the skills and drills, but it's just there's so many things that from that service and the reality and the credibility that I give, hopefully, to my acting now, that I've drawn completely from life in the court.
Yeah. So the leaving the Corps, done your acting degree.
Yeah.
What other stuff did you start doing?
Well, that was during the acting degree. I linked in with a few former bootlegs who do supporting actors. Andy Buckley, who's running with MFS, and they said, get yourself in there, get yourself in there, so then you'll get rolled out on big films. And I wanted that. I needed that for education. Like, what's it like working on big films? So during those times while I was actor training, in my summer months, I done extra work or supporting actor work. I got some incredible adventures and dates, gained some incredible dates from working on Ready Player One, The Kingsman 2, Mary Queen of Scots, if you're the Gorilla, with Idris Elba. If you think, but I was the upright. What does the first do? What does the third do? What's this here? How does how do the extras work? What's the life on set like? What's it working with? I learned so much just in that window and gone, right, I've got it now. I know what way to fuse into as an actor to be part of this incredible little community. They're making films and making magic, but knowing what everyone does and respect what they do as well, because they're all part of the project.
So just absorb all the knowledge. Yeah. Go and stand there and just go, right, how does this work?
Yeah, how does that work?
Yeah.
What do you do? You know,
I spoke before on a podcast. So I was in Hasler. I did 2 years in Hasler as a patient when I ended my career. The turning point for me was just standing back and going, right, what's everyone doing that are got their head out their arse and that are being successful? And the 3 people I was looking at, one was my PTR in training.
Yeah.
He ended up as a patient. I thought, what's he doing? Right.
Yeah.
He'd gone SF as well. There was another SF major there. What's he doing? Like top performers.
Yeah.
And then funnily enough, another PTR, he was an officer who was in there and he was just on it. And I just took inspiration of people that were lads with like a lot of threaders, lads, and they're moaning. I was like, I've got to come away from this. And I just looked at the people and what they were doing. Like you going in to go, right, how does this work then? Yeah. And just learn and go, right, that's it. Off we go.
It is, but I think it's being life in the armed forces and that. And I think just leaving life experience generally, you realize that human beings are human beings. They've got the same dynamics. Now, there are some that are uber clever in that, but they're not. They've just got a way of tapping into things that are needed. So I find that you are exactly who you are, but you've got, even from, I remember through that experience, how robust and how resilient physically and mentally a human being can be, but also how, nobody is a superhuman. There's no real Superman. I mean? Of course there are, but it's only because they're focused. They learn. If they don't know, they learn. They get information. They hoover up. And I think a big one as well, which is having good mentors, not following the dickhead. Follow people that are good and take a little piece of them. You know what I mean? And, who will give you it willingly. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. But it's really important to have them, because one of the lads, we were traveling back yesterday from, obviously I was promoting in Texas, promoting Sunray. And one of the lads went, yeah, but it's cracking. You're a legend. You are. And going, no, I'm not. And you're not going, we do. We don't throw it out willy-nilly in the court, but there are, and to have that, for him to say it, I'm like, I don't like, I'm humbled. I'm going, no, I don't like that. But when I was a young ML2 corporal, some of the guys I was working with, and they're still friends of mine, but they to me were legends. They'd been in the Falklands. They fought at Top Mallow House. They'd done this. They were like, the poster boys of the Corps now. I'm going, and now they go, no, we're not. We're just, you're going to be one day. You're going to be this, that. But I'm not going. And you're like, no. I'm going, so it's nothing to do about the legendary thing. It's a perception, but it's so nice to have people say that to you and, give you that. But it's not,
But also, everyone's fragile and everyone's got their weak points. Yeah. And this, going back to my Hasler bit, to see my ex-PTI, who when I joined the Corps, he was the first person in a white vest that stood in front of me, bosun, and I was just like, I want to be him. He was like, it's like, so I very much idolized him. He then went off and did SF, didn't see him for probably over a decade, 12 years. To see him then back in Hasler, I was like, he must be on the staff. And he was a patient. Yeah. And all of a sudden I started seeing this fragile side to someone, physically, mentally. And it's like, and again, you see blokes in there that were SF lads, and you're just like, everyone's got this like a breaking point. And this is what I talk about with the stuff that I do about it's the classic, it's okay to not be okay, but it's how we deal with that and the people we speak to and the experiences that we can go back to. And I suppose that's what going back to the film.
Do you know, I've done a couple of workshops with Hasler on drama. Do you know about that?
No.
Well, when I was in my actor training, one of the modules we'd done, and this is really important because everything you said there, this is exactly, in a way, I accidentally, and this is why I got into a lot of the stuff I've done with veterans in theatre and that. We have a community-centered actor, so we were doing, just working on all different communities in the United Kingdom, and the support they get through the arts, and how it's such a human story because everyone's been a storyteller from history since humans had consciously communicated with each other right to now. So the community's doing different things. So I thought, well, I want to do something for a community, but my community is the armed forces. So I spoke to Hasler Company and said, can I run a couple of workshops with the Hasler Company? People that want to do it, be involved with it. One I was going to focus on would be swords operas, and the other one would be on, there was an education pack with The Two Worlds of Charlie F., which was a play. Cassidy Little, who's a former Marine, got blown up in Afghanistan. He was like one of the main roles of The Two Worlds of Charlie F. by Bravo 22 made the play. This is about 2012, I think, 2013, 2012 probably, when they made it. But they've got an education pack, which is brilliant because you can do a little workshops working with stories which are really quite, well, completely realistic, but they're from somebody else. And you can work, dialogues between different characters. So, and an acting workshop, you get it when you go into a space, it's the safe space. So as soon as you go in there, it's a safe space. But you remember when you're in an acting workshop, you have to really push all those buttons on the highs and lows of emotion and everything else while you're in there. But you're safe and you can escape and if need be, but you're supported. But it's important to have that secure, safe room where you can do everything. And then I brought them in and done all the classics, so like different focus exercises, vocal warm-ups, and then we went in to do swords operas. And like swords operas, you must admit, if people don't know about it, swords, I believe the word swords comes from Ship's Operatic and Drama Society. And we, on board in the old days, that's where the skits used to happen. The army, they call it skits. But they used to sort of like have an opportunity, set up a stage, get some curtains, and then they would do comedy sketches with a compere, normally completely taking the piss out of the whole of the management and the officer class, which is wonderful. But and they love it as well. It's such a group sort of like wonderful performance. And I remember even when I was when the Marines, when you go right, going to the swords opera at the end of this and see Blowstein, like, oh, what pain in the ass, blah blah. And I have to admit, even to this day, the talent I've seen doing swords operas from the Corps is better talent than I've ever seen outside of that realm. The magic, the improvisation ability, the rudeness.
A lot of it comes because lads don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
So they do not give a fuck. So that's great. And they're happy to stand up and make a dick out of themselves if that's what it is. And that's why it's so good. They did one at Dartmouth. The officer cadets did it when I was down there and they all got in the shit for it because they took it too far. And I was like, that wasn't too far. No. And I was like, well, I've seen a lot worse than that. But for people joining the Royal Navy, it was deemed that was inappropriate. But I was like, what'd you expect? You're just giving them a rope, they're going to hang themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Push the boundaries. But again, that's an important thing, I think, to push the boundaries and out there. And I'm not, especially, in the whole world that we've got today, everything's like, you're not allowed to push it in a lot of respects, but, the further you can, it's more magical.
Yeah.
But you still have to get knuckle dropped. You still have to get knuckles dropped.
We thought, oh, fantastic. I sat at the back thinking that was brilliant. And then all the officers in front of me didn't think it was so good. Let's stop to it. But there we go.
But the thing is with the Hasler thing, what I found was when we went into the Two Worlds of Charlie F. and we had guys and foremen, I remember that within these two workshops, there was 3 guys there that were former Marines that I'd operate with. And one of them in particular was like, I just remember him being such a physically fit, robust mountain of a man. And all of a sudden, I hadn't seen him for, after quite a lot of operations and that. And he'd had 3 back-to-back honking tours in Afghanistan. And what I seen in front of me, I hardly recognised him. Initially, it was just the old, because he'd lost everything. He'd lost his family. He was addicted now to alcohol, and it was a slippery slope, and he wasn't coming back at them at that time.
What year is this?
This was 2015, 2016.
I know exactly right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But he was a quality guy, and they were struggling. But there was also guys that were suffering from different psychological, issues. No names because you'll know them as well. Like, there's different things. But when they became another character, and this wasn't, I'd done this to be part of my university degree, but when we started having people talk and engage and become different characters, they transformed. The confidence that was not there with them all of a sudden just transformed. And they were like completely different people. Couldn't people that had Tourette's and things like that. They were just all of a sudden bang, switch, being somebody else. I was good, stop, and back again. And they were, the thing. But I just opened this box of how magical, or even the potential. I thought, because I'm not I'm not an expert or a medical expert, but the potential for therapy for people doing drama and creative things. That was where it just completely opened up for me. And since then, I've always supported and worked with groups, getting veterans through to do performance, especially vulnerable people that are struggling with mental health challenges that maybe they've got deeper from when they were young, but also definitely triggered maybe through their operationals.
I think it's because it allows them to almost forget reality for a moment and become this other person.
Yeah, I do. But I think, I don't know the magic behind it, but I could see the positivity, that little warmth in their faces, the focus in their eyes, and the contented feeling, smiling at the end of it. And when I've done it with those vulnerable veterans, and we've done plays, or and been out and they've been focused in rehearsals in the space, getting it going, doing performances. The biggest fear is just when you finish that bubble of rehearsal, research and development, rehearsal, and then performance. At the end of it, you're going to have a down because you're going to, right, what am I going to do now? But they understand it now. So you got to through the whole time, remember you'll have a diner, you'll get off this, you'll do it. But realize that what gets you up is to be creative again, is to go, right, let's make more magic, let's do this. It's not the be all and end all, but you must make repetition and moving them. And they've got that, they know where they can get that buzz, and it's a healthy buzz because they're creating and making things and creating a legacy for themselves and for other people. There's got to be a positive, end to it. But you've got to realize there's always the lows and the highs. And I think again, I'm not an expert. You'll know this far more than me. The fact is that you need to have that up and down rhythm. If you just keep it mediocre in the middle, it's not what life's about. You've got to hit there, and it's just your ability to get back up again. You know what I mean? And those highs is just, you just need to have that dynamic. You need to have that. Because it trains you as an emotional animal as well, I think.
I say to a lot of people when it comes to health and wellness that are on my program, I say to them, it sounds bizarre, don't ride the highs too high because there's always going to be a crash. So take it, embrace it, and remember what it feels like, but also remember that it is going to be up and down. And when you're at the bottom, you know that you can get back up to where you need to be. I think that's really important. Otherwise, when you do have that crash, because it happens with all of us, good days, bad days, it's like it can be like a really bad day. But yeah, don't grab the highs too much. Has the right funny story, it depends how you look at it actually. Talking about actors and whatnot. So probably the lad that we were talking about, he was a character. And I remember we was in the hydrotherapy pool one day, and we're all there, music, nice lights, night no music, with this civvy instructor that had come in, and all these bootlegs were all stood in this pool doing this IG, all nice and relaxed, mindfulness and everything. Door gets kicked in. This lad comes in with his walking stick because he's hanging out. He's out, and he's getting rounds down, and he's absolutely pissing himself laughing. Completely ruins the entire setting, and the instructors there like, "What is going on here?" We're in absolute bits, like absolute bits. Talk about cheerfulness in the face of this. Yeah. He's making noises like you do when you're a kid. Yeah, and he's just coming in doing a room clearance and then just fucks off. Lads, it's just an absolute bit. But going back to this whole conversation, it's a great actor.
Yeah,
good actor. Yeah, it's great.
But it's just giving you that. For me, it was that it gives you that. I understand now that sort of creativity. I mean, you must admit it comes in all different shapes or forms. But if you've got that is I think it's a pathway or an avenue that you can follow to get yourself, once you own it, to get yourself back from, bad places, I think.
For sure. So Sunray, let's go back to this then. How did it come about? How was it written? How did you get all the lads together?
Well, I first heard about it when I was a trained actor. We had just come back from, I was doing a play in Toronto in Canada with the Soldiers Arts Academy. We were doing a Soldier On. We came back from Canada and I got this call from a lad who I knew who was one of my, on the ML3's Recce Leader type courses, before, quite some time before. And he was an IA. He was a naval photographer and filmmaker with a few other guys that were former Marines as well. And he went, "Oh, we hear you're an actor now. Do you fancy coming doing something with us? We're going to be thinking of doing something about our people." And that was it. And that was hook. And as soon as he said that, I'm going, "Yeah, I'm in." I had no understanding of who they are, what I didn't care. It was creative. It was about our people. And I knew that I'd be able to give some input. So we all met up in Yeovil at the bar at the Yeovil Air Station. Done a few shots, got introduced to the potential team and that there. We'd done a few interviews, and then we planned to do a weekend. And what the plan was to do a short trailer, put it out for crowdfunding and see how it goes. Now, I knew from the guys, that they were good. They were really good military filmmakers. They've done a lot of stuff. They were sort of like, not evolving, I'd say nearly revolutionizing naval photography and film work. And they were doing some really good action stuff with the Corps as well. But the way they shot it and their understanding of digital media was pretty remarkable. So that was the plan. So we went down to Pompey, and then over about 25 hours, we filmed a likely possible journey of the work we were going to do. We were looking to make a 3-episode series, like a pilot series that we could put on a streaming platform and see where we went with it. But I'll follow you the journey in a second, but that's the initial intentions. But we shot this in 20 hours. So it was like, we had a rough storyboard all around, like, a few different places in Portsmouth, a few cheats and that to make it happen. And we shot this thing. Did any of you see that? The original crowdfunding video. It's pretty gobsmacking. Because when it came out and the lads layered in why we were doing it, the whole point about like mental health, people that were struggling, how, the journeys, but also the camaraderie, the friendship, the highs and lows, the capability of being able to be extremely violent and extremely loving. So all those different things, it just packed everything that we were. And this small sort of like crowdfunding trailer went out. I remember when we were filming this, if we weren't the lead actor, we'd be like running with the boom mic or making the coffees or getting the weapons ready. So everyone there was concurrent activity and everyone doing everything all the time. We done this trailer, the trailer went out, and we hit our mark within a couple of weeks. We did 60K in a couple of weeks. So this is a really strong, I'm considering like, it's minimal, originally. And we got to that level, and then other former Royal Marines and veterans looked at it and they're going, "Oh," so we got a few more investors. So the plan then was, we've got it now, let's do the filming. So in the summer of 21, I think it was 21, might be 22. I think it was 21. I think it was 21. We went down to Portsmouth and we filmed it. It was over about 2.5 weeks. We done filming around Portsmouth and Dorset. And then we done a small sort of long weekend shoot, or long week, shortened version up north when we were shooting the Afghanistan scene. So we're all up with about 3 weeks filming.
We're in Pompey.
Well, in Pompey for the actual filming, we used, and again, it was connections through, people that we knew in service, and, with the help we got from people in Portsmouth, from people in Dorset, because we've done it Max events. We used our real estate in Dorset. Phil and the gang are really brilliant. And loads of people helped us down in Portsmouth. We used a lot of derelict buildings, like the old post office building, staggeringly good brewery, beer near Pompey football stadium. All incredibly helpful, and they're really part of the project. And we filmed all the different scenes. But the first thing we'd done was, because obviously after we'd done the sort of trailer, the lads then fixed on writing the story of what we were looking to do. 3 episodes, remember? So they filmed them. We sat down as a whole cast, because we bought loads of extremely talented and well trained Shakespearean actors and people from, to fill in all the different characters. And then we had our veteran team, so the veterans as well. And then bolted on and supporting there was loads of extras and supporting actors from the veteran community that helped us, otherwise. And it wasn't just like, say, all RM. This was everybody from the veteran community. So we all different cap badges supporting what we'd done. So, and we filmed it, and it was brilliant. And the being on set, banter, it was very military-like. And I think, all the people from the industry, the civilians that were going, they got it as well. They sort of got brought into the energy that we were bringing to it. And it was a really enjoyable experience. And then once the lads went into post and started working on it, there was a lot of interest from the industry looking over the shoulder going, here you're making sort of magic. And they managed that obviously got on board an executive producer, and it was starting to move, creeping forward. But, it's taken a while. Well, they were doing this as well as doing their full-time job. But they managed to get a guy who was one of the editors for Peaky Blinders, The Crown, and Sherlock. And he came in and looked at what the lads had done. He goes, "Look, this is magic, guys. It's really good, but this needs to be a movie. It just looks too good to be a film movie." So they completely re-edited, got it forward, and became a movie. And then it went off last year to Cannes Film Market, and it got just picked up by 20 TV territories around the world. And with Vertigo releasing it was picked up, and we got a cinematic release in UK and the US. Went into 6 cinemas in the US with free for veterans to go as well, and it went global on Apple, Amazon, Virgin, well, everywhere.
So Leicester Square was the UK premiere, right?
Yeah, 20th of January, Leicester Square. That was quite an experience.
I bet it was, yeah. Shame we couldn't go on to that one. Yeah,
but I've got to really. It's an action thriller, so all the action thriller stuff of the drills and working as a team, we got weighed off in about 20 minutes. That was it. We were all from that background. We knew what we were doing. We focused on it. We knew our roles within that team, and we cracked on with it. And obviously, we had a few different advisors come in who were former bootnecks and give us a few top tips and that. But generally, it was us. It was how we
best drill in that movie. Peel Right.
Was it there? Is it?
Yeah, Peel Right. And I was just like, decent, good drills out there. Straight off, weapon up, off you go.
Yeah, that's the thing. So, but all of it was that we were doing it. And there was sometimes in the filming where they were doing it, we're saying, well, we wouldn't do that for real. But we're going, and the guys, because they're bootnecks, we know you will do it real, but it looks good for the camera.
Yeah.
Okay. So there was, but generally we didn't.
Because when they left, they were shooting like that.
No, but that again, when you think about it, and the currency as well in CQB and that, a lot of it is moving towards there's different things. I learned a lot of things about the way it's moving forward. But for me, it was, this is where I'm training, this is what I'm doing. And, but that, to be honest, for us was easy. The hard bit was the fact is that the character I play, Andy, he's incredibly, he's a broken man. And like I said, when we know we've all met people that have been in service and they were that man, you know what I mean? So I think that was not the hardest, but the most important facet of that part of the film that it really came from there, and from the empathy and sympathy that I've got for all of our people, the ones and their families, and the people that have died in operations, people that are coming back, they're still struggling. Look how many of our friends have taken their own lives. That is what it's all about. So the story, it is an action thriller.
Yeah.
But if you look at it, you don't know whether that's real or not. That's in like the character.
You buy into it from the start with your character, with Andy. When he's talking to the therapist, you buy into it straight away. Doing the mindfulness thing, which is not going too well.
No,
but it's
you dream about how troubled he is.
Yeah,
but also what does he? You mean, and that's why it's not purely a veteran thing. It is, it's not purely about, military people that are suffering. That it's about people that are suffering. Mm-hmm. So when you've got that, and even though you've got that soothing wonder of somebody who knows potentially what's going on in your head, if that strength or weakness, in what way you look at it, pull towards You know, I mean, catastrophes there, it'll win, but you've got to. It's that one of those. I think you've got to come and get pulled into a world of goodness to get away from that.
Yeah.
And I think it hasn't happened to so many of our people. And that's every time I hear that people that I work with or think have taken their own lives, it's so sad. It's so incredibly sad.
But it's also, so I'm a father as well, so it's a reflection on he's a father, and the problems, the huge problems. That's the catalyst of what's happening. That's my biggest fear in life. If my children ended up something like that, so you again, you buy into it massively, and I do with films. I'm either hit or miss.
Yeah.
I will quite often tell of a film, not watching it, can't do it, it's crap, or I just get 100% invested in it. I can't watch a film somewhere in the middle and go, oh, that's okay. She goes, it's Fred as a movie, off.
I'm like, you know,
But I was engrossed in this for so many reasons. But like, digressing slightly, if I watch a film and the write up is a daughter gets kidnapped, I'm watching that. No, no, I just can't because I've got kids, you know. But yeah, going back to Andy's character, it's not just the veteran side of it; it's the human side of being a father, and obviously having all that going on. It's deep, it's meaningful.
Yeah. And people have had to go through that, so you've got to draw on experience. But for me, when I started being an actor, those roller coasters, those emotional roller coasters, are really, really hard because. And when I was an actor trainer, I nearly pulled pin on it in actor training because I'm going to be an actor, I'm going to be a storyteller. But when you go in there to be credible and to get, you know, for people to see you on the screen or whatever, and you know, and not be acting. And there's another one like, you know, they're acting. You're going, as soon as somebody says you're acting, you've failed, haven't you? I mean, you have failed. You know, you got to be. And that's it. So if I'm going to do that and I'm on an emotional roller coaster, I struggled when I was an actor training because, you know, you're doing skits, you're following classical plays, you're doing that, but your character has to go on those journeys. And some of them, you know, those really sad places. In a way, for me to get believably and not act and to be there believably, I personally, different actors have different ways of doing it, but I personally have to draw on real experiences and loads of colleagues. I mean, we have loads of them, and I have loads of them that are no longer with us, that lost their lives on, you know, gave the ultimate sacrifice, or, you know, family members and everything. So I had to go to those real places, and I had a moral dilemma going, why am I these wonderful souls that are part of my life and my makeup? I'm asking them to come and see me so that I can deliver something for people that really don't give a fiddler's fuck about you. You know what I mean? You know, in the bigger picture, they don't. You know, I mean, they're about the play and the story, which is important, but it's not my life. That's not important. And I just felt I was cheating their memories and cheating the wonder of who they were. So I had to sort of take a step back and just go, right, why am I a storyteller? Why am I here? What is it? Why the pathway brought me here? And then I realized that I can be credible. I want to be as, you know, perform as believable as I can always be. But for me to do that, I need my brothers and my sisters that are in my head to come with me. So I've said that anytime I get interviewed like this, I've got to make sure you understand that I need them people, their souls and their memories with me to be credible. And it's important. And that's why with Sunray, it's so close to home. It's literally, it's the memory of those people that is there in that flavor.
With the writing it, the acting it, and watching it back, and talking about it now, is there anything that's too close to home with you?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm exactly the same as you. The thought if something like that happened to my daughter, where would I stand? You know what I mean? And that's why I remember those malfunctioning bits in his head, what levels I would do to, because you think about it, you've lost one of the most wonderful things in your life, if not the most wonderful thing. What's going to replace it? And again, from all I think, do you avenge it? You know, but we know that that's wrong and that's not positive. But you've got to, you know, honestly, I really, really would struggle with, you know, that. Of course, I could never do something illegal, but I just thinking, you think of your mindset. what path would you have?
Do you
Where
own,
would you get satisfaction?
do you own a nail gun?
No, but like again, but with it, the nail gun, it's saying whatever, but it's just so many, we've got so many people giving the old, well, that'll never happen for real, it'll never happen. I said, oh no, it doesn't matter. It's inside his head. He's going like, if a father was that and happened to his daughter, a nail gun would be nothing. A nail gun would go, a nail gun, that's only the start of it. You know what I mean? That's the feeling inside. So that's where it is. It's a metaphor for, you know, that those levels of violence that somebody could possibly push. Is it right though? Or is it wrong? So I want people to ask that question. But even to do that with nail gun, it's very hard to do. To improvise that and do it with a nail gun, you'd have to do some serious bit of work on it to get it right. But it works. And the drama front, you know, of course it works.
Yeah.
But like, where are you going to go drive around like Exeter or down the road and give it, all right, I've just got a bloke who's a mega, like, he sells loads of machine guns and this and that. Okay, we've just come back from Texas. You could do that in Texas. But here, it's a very hard thing to do. And so all these things the layers of manufacture, but it's all about, it's all inside the characters' heads. And that's, you know, and what I want is for people to go to understand what all our veterans and our people, our human beings go through, but also to leave there going, you know, I mean, because there's so many people with there's different things. If you watch it, the more and more you watch it, one or two, three times, you get more and more from it. There's different little messages come out all the time, but all those layers are completely in there. And honestly, I'm smiling now because it is really good to watch. And I will watch it again just to get more out of it, because there's so many things to do. But if somebody leaves there and even if they walk out of there, you must admit, you walk out of the cinema and you're going, right, where's the car? Let's crack on with it. But if you walk out of the cinema going, ooh,
yeah,
I mean, how should I feel now?
I've got questions, but I'm going to ask after this because I don't want to give spoiler alerts away. What about fighting on screen? What's that like? You have that scrap with that chap in the corridor at one point.
That was cracking, but that was with another bootneck as well.
Right.
That was with Adam Collins, who's an incredible stuntman, professional stuntman, works in all the big Hollywood films, and he goes, right, he came down, obviously.
I know that name.
Yeah.
Did he appear on one of the Commando programs, like, you know, back in like 2007, Commando on the Front Line?
I don't know. But he's a lot younger than me.
There was a lad who was a stuntman who went through training, and do you remember Commando on the Front Line?
Yeah.
I don't know if he passed out or not though.
But he is now. But I've met a few friends that I've known for a long time in the Corps that are now stuntmen and doing big Hollywood films. Really good friends of mine. I've worked with them a few times on set with them as well. But Adam and Chris both came down, both former mates to Corps, and that scrap in the corridor was a classic because we went down, and when we'd done it, again, you've got to understand, like, we've shot a movie in about, that bit was about 2.5 weeks, but when we'd done it, it was right, and we had a rehearsal. We just, I think in one of the background, you know, the BTS ones, there's a bit of us doing, like, you know, walking through what we do, but when we shot it in one take. That was it. So we come down, and that was it. And we went for it. And when I get up off that one and go and pick the pistol up, I am absolutely blowing out of my hoop, large style. And that's Pucker Jen.
Yeah.
But it was just staying kind of. But it answered it. But honestly, that scene,
yeah.
And we didn't. But when you watch, because it's shot, the way it's shot is incredible. And the lads know what they're doing. They really know their shit.
How choreographied is it? Is that a word?
And that was it. So we choreographed that. We done it in about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
But it's just because Adam knows his stuff, and I've done stuff in actor training out there about, you know, what way you cheat it and that, and it worked a treat. And then we shot it and cracked on from there, like. And but it was having him there was just magical, and Chris as well. So when we have, you know, again, people from Arcane or whatever who are from the industry, and we're there, that, you know, I mean, it's if you could do a set, and again, I don't want to obviously upset the industry, but if you could do a set full of veterans that are all, like, you know, got that passion, but we've got that little military ethos over the top of it, it could be pretty revolutionary. I think it could be, you know, so immaculate, but so on point, and bang and happening. People knowing what they're doing, people wanting to know what they're doing. You know what I mean, we all know that there are some bad people in the military as well. So you'd have to be still selective.
Yeah. So that's a good message we pushed across for Sunray there. And I think,
No. You got to push across. What you've got to push across is you've got to watch it. You
Yeah.
got to get on there. Get like, even just make sure you tap into one of those platforms. Get your mates around, get people around, watch it, and give us a genuine review on IMDb, because it's important that, you know, we get that credibility in IMDb or Rotten Tomatoes and go, no, this is genuinely how I feel. Because unfortunately, what does happen, because of who we are, whatever else that, you get a lot of people just, you know, look at, nah, it's just loads of guys running around with guns, blah, blah, you know, this sort of thing. So what we need is to watch it and go, whoa, what did I feel? And just give a genuine one and give it a rating, because it helps. It'll help the film, because this is nothing to do with finance. I'm proud of it.
hmm,
And I know it's got the integrity of that it deserves as a really, you know, a good movie. Remember, the first one done on a shoestring budget, but with a real soul in it. And I think people should understand it. I mean, you think that as well. I mean, there's a soul in it. There's a reason for it.
like I said, I bought into it. Maybe it is because I'm ex-military, ex-Lunac, and I was talking to you. But no, it's like I said, I turn films off very quickly.
Yeah.
I don't watch many action films, and I sit there going, "That's shit."
Yeah.
So I want to be. I like films that makes me think.
Yeah.
I don't want to just have it presented to me. I want a bit of action, fine, but it's an action thriller, right? So it's got the twists as well, which is fantastic. So what's next, mate? Let's wrap it up. What's next to you now that that's out and doing its bits and pieces?
Well, I just found out 2 days ago. Obviously, just got back from Texas yesterday, but just like 2 days ago, I've been selected for New Year, New Idea, to do a short draft of a play with Theatre Royal in Plymouth. But I've been part of my history in the Corps was when we were invading Iraq. The helicopter that crashed was with my people. You know, I mean, I was in Brigade Patrol at the time, and tragically, they all died on the first night when we were on the invasion. And the white cards hadn't changed, so people believed I was still on the helicopter. So when we got off the helicopter, the mission was aborted, and people going, we were dead. I said, no, all the lads are dead, because they blew up underneath me. And I'm doing a play called Brothers, which is about those people that died in the helicopter, and I want to bring their soul and the wonder of who they are. And it's a one-person play, and I want to bring it on stage so you can feel the magic of these wonderful people. It's only got to be about an hour's length play, but I'd like to extend it to do it. But I want to make it so that, and again, it's not for me. This is for their memory, for their legacy. To go, look, we have some wonderful human beings never made it. You know what I mean? And so many haven't. But I want to, and I think now, I feel quite emotional thinking about it as well. But I want to continue making stuff about these people that never made it back. You know, and it's being creative is magical, and being, you know, having a good piece of theatre, you know, and it's not a lecture. Somebody going, well, this is what happened. This is about feeling and wonder and human beings and mind and everything else. I just want a legacy for those wonderful people. So that's me, and they've Theatre Royal said, yeah, we like that. So I'm already drafting scripts, and I'm R&Ding it with a really good friend of mine, Amanda Collins, who was one of my lecturers at university. She's a dramaturg, so her best one-liner was, I was doing a bit of Shakespeare, and I was speaking like this is something, and she's like going, Tommy, what are you doing? What are you doing there? Can you just go back up there and stop fucking acting? And I was like going, but I thought, that's what I'm doing, acting. She goes, stop acting. And I was like going, and she was so bang on, because that was so working with her is brilliant, because she goes, she knows what theatre and way drama form works, and you know, music, body movement, everything. And I want to create something that's purely about them, but I just want people to sink their teeth in and just have when you just feel and close your eyes and just touch them in some way. And that's what I'm doing. That's my next big thing.
Love it, mate.
Unless Steven Spielberg gives me a call or something like that, then I'll be going, have to put that aside for a second. But that I know I'm definitely doing.
Perfect. Love it, mate. Tip, absolutely amazing to have you in. We'll put a link and everything in the YouTube below for Sunray Fallen Soldier.
Sunray Fallen Soldier. It's everywhere, but get in there. Have a look at the trailer. The trailers, well, several trailers, and the BTS stuff.
We'll link them below. We'll link them below, mate. Absolute pleasure.
Brilliant.
Nice one.